Hi, blessings. Welcome to Pizzo's Pages. This is an AuthorTube, BookTube, MomTube, and today I'm going to play a special role in being an educator tube. So if you are an educator or a mom or a dad or someone who's supporting your young ones during these very unprecedented times with their education, in my state, we have closed the schools for the rest of the school year. I understand the necessity to do it, but it's very heartbreaking to me to close public schools. I recognize how powerful public schools are when it comes to not only educating our children, but being a refuge for our children, being a sense of stability for many of our children, being a place for them to learn and grow and socialize. And all of the things that we help support our young people with oftentimes takes place in our educational environments. I wanted to just offer a little bit of support and help, Q&A with an educator, to try to help parents and families and adults, educators, still provide the very best in learning opportunities for their children. First question, how do I keep my kid reading and growing as a reader when school's not open? First question. I hear this often. I struggle with it myself. So I'm not an expert in the sense that I know everything. All I'm doing is offering some research-based, evidence-based support to the work that we have to do in this season of school closure. So I have two boys, 16, 14. My adults, once they're adults and I've gotten them out of high school, it's on you, boo-boo. It's on you to continue to strive and grow in your education. And I'm here to help and consult and give you whatever I can give you when you request it. Otherwise, not my really job to monitor your college experience. So much so, as long as you're doing it and not wasting the money I put in, it's on you. But for my 14 and 16-year-olds, I'm a firm believer that it is a parent's job to help see them through high school, because high school is so tumultuous and turbulent, and it's very easy for them to get distracted and lose sight of the goal of graduation. And to me, that is a parent's job, is to do whatever they can. I saw my mother do it with my sister, who did not want to go to school regularly when she was in high school. And I just believe it's a parent's job to get them through that first phase of their education, which high school is the culmination of that whole K-12 experience. Whether they're being homeschooled, privately schooled, or public school experience, I truly believe it's a parent's job to do whatever they have to do to see that child through graduation. So with my 14 and 16-year-old, it's a struggle to get them to read, especially during this time. Now with their gaming systems, they can game all day long. And so I'm constantly trying to put in front of them the importance of them reading. That reading, learning how to read does not stop when you are able to read a book. It continues. As you get into college, you're going to be introduced to new vocabulary, new words, new context, new research, and you need to be able to navigate all of that literacy to be a literate person, to me. So you're always learning how to read, and in order to continue to learn how to read, you have to keep reading. So how do we motivate our children to keep reading? How do we support them in continuing to become proficient readers when school's not there? My number one objective and goal as a mom, as an educator, is to continue to give them books. I'm a firm believer is that you can do all the worksheets, and you can do all of the projects, and you can do all of the things that we like to do connected to teaching reading. But if they aren't picking up a physical book and enjoying that physical book, they never really develop into readers. They never really get a true sense of what it means to be literate and to enjoy reading. So my strategy is read a book. Read a book. Read a book. Read a book. Put a book in their hands and say read. One of the things I love about my job is introducing titles and giving book recommendations to families, children, and educators. I just love to see a child choose a book that they're going to engross themselves in, that they're going to try to enjoy and read and journey along throughout the plot. And so books is the #1 way. Yeah, you could do challenges and you could do, I do that kind of stuff in my house because my family is a competitive household and it motivates something within them to be able to get a challenge. Maybe your household isn't one where people want to be challenged and you want to say, oh, you read this number of books, you get to watch the movie connected to it. Maybe you don't want to do that. You don't want to make it a challenge. That's perfectly fine. But you should be modeling reading a book. I know it's crazy, but you're home, and even if you just pick it up for 10 minutes, try to read a book and model that in front of them. Even if they never say anything to you, it does help absorb the commitment to reading, and that reading is important in a child's life, okay? Just to see you reading, it helps them recognize that. The other thing is, books. And I know that finances are difficult right now for many families. Books have a cost factor to them. Libraries are closed, schools are closed where they can get a lot of books off of a teacher's bookshelf or off of the school library. So where do we get these books? It doesn't matter if you use the same beloved book in your house over and over and over again. Use that same book. Say you got one book in your house. Use that same book over and over again. Just find different ways to engage with it and talk about it with your young person. So maybe they read it and you didn't have any conversation about it. This time, have them read it and have some conversation about it. What might you talk about concerning the book? Maybe you'll talk about the characters, actions within the book, and why are they making those choices? Maybe you talk about their traits. What do they look like? What is their personality like? Are they jovial? Are they surly? Are they angry? Are they moody? Really talk about emotions and feelings. Maybe you talk about the emotions and feelings that the story evokes in the child that's reading the book. Are they excited while they read it? Is it adventurous? Do they feel their heart beating faster because they want to, see what's next? Is it a page turner? Then connect that. Where does the story take place? Why did the author choose this as the place? And you could do that K3. You could talk about if they're reading picture books. I have some picture books here. If they're reading picture books, look how vastly different these covers are on these picture books. The Garofalo, Looking Like Me, and Superhero, Instruction Manager. Look at the difference in those covers and the colors used in them. Why did the illustrators use these colors? Why does the Garofalo look like he looks? Use that to have a whole conversation around the book. Maybe you look at the setting. Look at that setting. That's a totally different setting in the forest than in the superhero setting. Totally different. You can talk about setting. Why does the story take place there? What if the story took place in a different location? You can talk about the colors within the book and what do those colors evoke in you? What do they make you feel? Does red make you feel adventurous? Does blue make you feel a little moody, a little emotional? You can talk about all of that. Then you can also talk about the word use. The choice of words that are being used in the story. Why did the author use that word? What does that word mean? Is it a nonsense word? Is it an actual word? You can have lots and lots of conversations around the same book over and over and over again. So I really encourage you to get them reading, even if it's the same book. One book in your house, you can have multiple conversations around the characters, around their traits, around the location and the setting. You can talk about motifs and symbols that are seen over and over. If it's a chapter book, you can talk about how it connects back to your reader. Do they have a story that's similar to the story they're reading? Is it a journey? Is it interesting? Read, read, read. I know we say it's so cliche, but really, if you want to keep your kids engaged in learning, read and discuss what they're reading. When you read, if it's a newspaper, if it's an article online, discuss what you're reading. It's just as important to for them to hear you talk about reading as it is for them to talk about reading. And the research says 6 books at their level will keep them on track academically over the summer. We know schools have closed and that their lost learning time extends beyond the normal 3 months of summer. So perhaps you add 2 more to that 6 books and they read 8 books this summer, and you talk about those books. You have conversations around them, what they like about it, what they don't like about it. Why did that character do that? Show true interest. No more than you would if you talked through a film you watched or a show you watched. Actually develop some conversations around books. Yes, it's difficult to buy them. I will say that Scholastic is running tons of 50 books for $50, which means that's $1 a book. There's a lot of books you can find for $1 a book. First Books have book bundles, but their books are very inexpensive, and maybe you can't afford a ton of books, but maybe you can afford 1 new book a month. That will help your child stay engaged, keep reading. Also, Audibles is offering free subscriptions for children. So perhaps you let them listen to a book and you guys listen to it together 20 minutes in the evening at some time, and you listen to those stories. All of that are wonderful ways to keep your children engaged, help their imagination continue to develop and grow, help their vocabulary continue to develop, and then it helps them stay on track with reading. I also have this book, Whoosh, Whoosh, by Chris Barton. It's Lonnie Johnson's super soaking stream of inventions. And just reading this book can build out a whole slew of projects. You can use this book and then have them invent their own inventions. Draw actual pictures. All you need is a little piece of paper. Draw pictures of inventions, even if they're totally fantastical, that they could then use at a later time, and then have them write. How do you use that invention? What is the purpose of the invention? What is it going to be able to do? How much would you sell the invention about? Watch a couple of episodes of Shark Tank. Continue to turn their world back to books. Connect what they watch, what they eat, what they invent back to books, because it really will make a huge difference. I'm a firm believer that if a child had nothing but books and a caring adult for their entire education, they would be perfectly okay in this world, and they would be able to have the potential to soar and grow as global citizens no differently than if they were in a formal classroom with the teacher, with the whole classroom of students, because books are that powerful. Even LeVar Burton of Reading Rainbow are reading books now. So there are many ways that you can engage, whether it be online or with a hard copy book or even through Audible with books. And I'm a firm believer that if you keep your child reading, even through this pandemic crisis, they will soar. They will soar all the way up, all the way up. Unless they're in college, I will keep them in a book in some way, challenge them to read a book. All right, if you have any questions you want me to answer, I'll give you my strategies. I'll give you my suggestions. Just put it in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, but ask away. What are you doing during this unprecedented time to keep your child engaged and connected to reading? What are you doing? All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.